Hi, this is Allison Makulik.
And hi, this is Hannah Bloking.
And welcome to another episode of Imposter Talks.
This is where we talk to professionals just like you about the ways that they're combating imposter syndrome in the workplace and in their personal lives. Let's get started. Hi, I'm Hannah Bloking.
Hi, I'm Allison Makulik, and we are here with another episode of Imposter Talks. Y'all, this is so fun. Okay, so sometimes you meet people in the world and in life, and you're like, are you my sister? Like, what's happening? And so our guest today, I can't believe we just met 1 week ago, but it was only a week. Yes. We were on the Pre-Sales Collective podcast with Jack Cochran, who's also been on Imposter Talks. And Hannah and I are both super involved in Pre-Sales Collective. And I was like, Hannah, I met this woman named Alex. We need to have her on. She's like, okay, let's do it. So today we welcome Alex Nation, who is such a badass. And I am so excited to have you today. Alex, welcome to Imposter Talks.
Thank you, Allison, Hannah, for having me. I honestly can't believe it's been a week. We are now texting friends.
We're texting friends. I know. And
I
know.
Allison sent a message to me immediately about you and said that she had a girl crush on you. So I knew that I had to meet you.
I have a girl crush on both of you. Thank you for saying that. We're going to do this every week, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. You can just be like our always guest. Just come on in.
We can have Matt come back. He's going to rock a great fit. It's going to be good.
Well, Alex, we're so excited to have you. So for those of you who might not know, I would love for you to give us an introduction, who you are, kind of how you came to us today.
I would love to. So hi, everyone. I'm Alex Nation. I lead a solution engineering team and group of enterprise rock stars. I've been leading teams for 3 years, started on the corporate side of things. And before that, I was an IC. I was a solution engineer for a decade. I started out as carrying a bag in tech. And the reason Allison and I realized that we might be the same person is we both graduated into a recession in 2009 when there were no jobs, and found our way into this wonderful world, into the best job in the world, which is pre-sales.
Mm-hmm. That was a good time.
Okay, so I'm in that same boat too. So look at us millennials just making it work.
Exactly. No, we really looking back, like what a time.
What a time. What a time. What
yeah.
a time. Yeah. Well, as you know, the topic of the hour is imposter syndrome. And through all the work that Allison and I have done on the topic, what we've learned is that every single person that we talk to has a slightly unique take on even what the term means. So imposter syndrome, imposter phenomenon. So maybe just to kind of ground us in the conversation today, can you tell us a little bit about what it means to you?
Yes, happy to. And I'm so glad you all have a podcast on this topic because I do think it's a universal feeling. I think it's very human to get into a new place and feel like you don't know what you're doing. To me specifically, I feel like it's kind of the theme of my whole career is I get dropped into these new situations and I'm told to figure it out. And it's become a gift. I think I've learned to embrace it. I've learned to embrace that moment that a friend and mentor of mine, Stephanie LaBuddy, shout out to Steph, talks about that. Like, if you're feeling that, that's a good thing. Like, good. That is a good problem. Specific to our role into our industry, I think it went from learning to become technical with zero technical background, having a communications degree from UC San Diego. And then as you get more senior in your career, being technical is less important. And then your knowledge network becomes more important. Who you know that knows the answer to this gnarly, ambiguous thing that you're trying to figure out. I learned that knowledge network phrase from this fantastic book called How Women Rise that I highly recommend any woman who wants to figure out their imposter syndrome. Give it a read. It's really good. Read the AI summary, if you don't have time to read a whole book.
Okay, amazing. I've never heard of it until you've talked about it, but did that help shape your view of imposter syndrome? Because I love how you said, if you feel that, lean into it. Because for so long growing up in tech, I would say, oh no, I don't like that. I don't like that one bit. I don't like it. I'm going to turn away from it. I can't do it, because I'm a type A. All three of us are type A, high performing women.
Yeah.
And not knowing something makes me feel very uncomfortable, but it's almost till recently, probably the last 3 to 5 years, I've started leaning into it and not running from it. Did that book help you get there, or did your experiences kind of get there on your own?
Great question. So, when I was interviewing for my first leader role at my current company, and my boss at the time, who's now my peer and a dear friend, guy by the name of John Worrell, he's also part of the pre-sales collective. I think he saw what was happening, that I was like trying to make this mental shift. And he was like, read this book called How Women Rise. And it's by Marshall Goldsmith. And I got to look up the woman who co-wrote this with him, because actually I'm going to look this up right now. Is that okay? How Women Rise.
I want to get her on the podcast.
Get her on the podcast. Sally, I'm not sure how you pronounce her last name. I'm going to give it a go. Helgeson. Okay. And Marshall Goldsmith is a very famous coach. I think he has like a full, if you want, it's a year-long waiting list. And I think he charges you $1 million, and you can become a Marshall Goldsmith certified coach. And so they co-wrote this book, and it's all about women making the shift from IC to leader and the behaviors that you can start to cultivate and practice. And one of those is actually letting go of the need to know everything, because it actually works against you. That if you are seen as too deep of a specialist in this one thing, that there can be a perception that you'll have a hard time letting that go and leading through others and empowering others. And so part of that is developing your knowledge network, who you know that knows the best of the best in cross-functionally, we'll talk about it in our terms, in go-to-market, in product, in strategy, because you can then go to those people and be like, I'm trying to solve this gnarly, ambiguous thing. What's your take?
Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm having PTSD flashbacks to my performance reviews.
Ouch! Oh, I'm sorry. I did not mean to take it there.
No, you're so right. I mean, and performance reviews are good because they're like well-rounded things that you like could identify as improvements. And it totally is like letting go of having to know everything and, being comfortable, letting people go, and people maybe even not deliver to the same quality that you could deliver yourself, and that's really hard to trade off,
It is. There are times as a leader where I've literally taken my hands and sat on them. Because I could step in and solve the problem for the person, but what good would that do?
Yeah. You're right. Yeah. And in fact, like you're like stunting the growth of your own team because they're not figuring it out themselves too, which you had to do ultimately.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm due for a reread of that book. It's been,
let's do a book club.
Let's do a book club. Okay. Let's do a book club. That was 3 years ago. So I'm due for a reread.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Definitely. This sounds like
I have an idea for anyone listening, and I'm going to put it in the post. And then any women or men who want to join, we can talk about it on LinkedIn. Like we can chat about after we read it.
I love that idea. Yeah, that's great. Especially because time zones. Yeah, perfect. Hey everyone, does it sound like this is something that applies to you and you feel like you want actionable tips and tricks to be able to fight your imposter in the workplace? We have a workshop for you.
Yes, we do. And let me tell you, if you're looking to gain confidence and fight your inner imposter, if you want to expand your knowledge and ability to be vulnerable in the workplace, and you want to take actionable, ongoing takeaways and tactics, look no further than the Fight Your Imposter workshop.
We're going to get back to the show, but make sure you email us at 4under3.io to learn more. So maybe then for kind of the next topic, you could tell us a little bit about a specific time where you felt imposter syndrome, and it could be more recent, maybe in the past, but you did mention that you kind of get used to it. You kind of get used to that feeling when you're constantly being given the opportunity to display your gift of navigating ambiguous situations. That's not a specific time.
It's funny. Another senior woman said that to me one time. And I was like, look, I'm not fishing for compliments. I'm genuinely, why did you agree to support my promotion at the time? And she was like 3 levels above me. She was like, it's because you figure out the gnarly ambiguous thing. And I have then taken that and said it to everybody I lead. And now I'm saying it to you all. So it really stuck in my brain. So then let's tie that to the transition from IC to leader. I recently was on a panel with our CFO. And by was, I mean, she and another senior woman did this amazing panel for our ERG. And she said this. She said it's really hard to make that there's two transitions that are hard. IC to leader and first line manager to director. And that really stuck with me. And so I thought back to like, okay, my transition from IC to leader at my current company. I went from yesterday I was their peer and now I'm their boss. And that was done for a reason. It was because I've done this job at this company and I can now help them navigate that transition. But the key is, well, two things. You got to let go of the spotlight being on you. It's not about you anymore. And you have to translate your experience in a way that meets them where they are. They're not you and you don't want them to be you. That's not the point. But, you know, you've heard this term like super AE, super SC. That's not what we want to do here. And so I was actually shocked at how hard that was for me to navigate. So I had to like really go back to some basic foundational principles of leadership, of, you know, learning to like listening more than you talk, Allison, which you talked about last week, and being an SC. Well, now you're doing it as a leader. That was a big one. So I think that I remember that really distinctly because I was also, you know, everyone's like rooting for you, like you're going to do amazing and da 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 da. And then I was like, okay, now I actually have to do this. Like they're looking at me to walk that line of like the buck stops with me, but now I also have to lead through you. So that was tough.
Yeah, I went through that at Salesforce as well. And honestly, looking back, it was a very hard time for me in my career. It took like a year to feel, and I don't even know if it was, I felt like I'm an imposter, but I almost felt like, am I letting my friends down or am I clouding my judgment because I do care about these people as friends? And there's not like a playbook on what to do for this very specific thing, but a lot of people do it. So when you were going through that experience for you, was it like, did you feel your imposter or did you reach out to your knowledge network to help you? Like, what did you do in that situation? Because other people listening for sure have experienced it.
Both, and I was really honest with my team. Actually, I should take a step back and explain this team to you all for a second because it's pertinent. We spun out a team for like one specific piece of our product, and then people had the ability to raise their hands to join this team. So I actually had to go out and do a little bit of recruiting, and like it was wonderful that there were people who wanted to work for me, but I realized I had to be really honest about everything that I didn't know and that we would learn and figure it out together. And actually, to make it really tactical, our first team meeting, I was like, so what do you guys want to talk about? And they looked at me like, you tell us. It was a moment for me. I was like, oh, I really am. I'm your boss.
I'm the boss.
It cemented it for me. Like, and now I can run my team meetings effectively, obviously 3 years later. And I have learned to like have some topics and leave enough room for serendipity. But like something as tactical as that, you're right. And these are people that I felt great personal affection and care for. That's a hard line to walk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is. You have to like take yourself out of the I'm the friend zone.
Yes.
That's really hard to do too.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I think that, you have so much great experience navigating this yourself and now leading people through it as well. So, maybe if you could think about one parting thought around somebody that maybe they're thinking about making the leap from IC to leader or leader to director, what would be your piece of advice that you want them to take away from today?
Yeah. I'm going to go back to another principle John offered up to me, which is the vulnerability. I think so often as high-performing women, we feel like we have to be perfect all the time. And that's impossible and it's exhausting. And like, yes, we all know when to put our game face on and bring in the 6, 7, 8-figure deal. We can do that. But then there are times to your people to say like, we are going to figure this out together, and I don't have all the answers. It's both. And, the voice that is I would say, don't fight it. Don't fight it, because actually then it's going to get worse. And then you're wasting your energy on that. Invite it in, but don't let it sit down. Don't let it, start going through your fridge and like taking a guest room, like, because then you'll have to charge it rent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Nothing rent free anymore. Especially
nothing rent free.
Yeah.
Yeah. Learn to work with it, and, call on you have a personal board of directors. That's another great piece of advice I've gotten. People that you can call and really be vulnerable with. Like, that one-on-one went horribly. Here's what happened. Chances are they've seen that before and they can help you.
Yeah. We talk about that a lot. Hannah and I have a Fight Your Imposter workshop. And one of the best ways to fight your imposter is to talk about it. And I think, to your point, women, especially when we get into these leadership roles, we almost are conditioned or think that we need to never show vulnerability or never show weakness. And I've learned that it actually gets so much further in showing that, because you are a real person and you're like, I don't know all the answers, versus acting kind of like a jerk. And then you lose credibility and you lose trust, and it takes a long time to build that back up. So we constantly push the vulnerability piece. And I think we can use it as our superpowers almost.
Yes, exactly. And two, you've made me think of two other things. One, I think I love a repair moment. I have gone back to people on my team and been like, I was thinking about our one-on-one and I don't like the way I handled that. Can we talk about it?
Yes, that's such a good tip. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I love I joke to my team that like, I don't live in a manager lily pad, and like I do, I am a real person. Like, and so I try to humanize myself as much as possible. Where they are in their lives. Not everybody wants to, talk about themselves personally, or, I try to meet every person where they are. I think that's big. The other thing I did, is I hired a leadership coach.
Was that game changing?
Game changing. Maureen Ahern.
Let's give her a tag.
Let's give her a tag. You guys would love Maureen.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What did that do for you? To just reframe your brain?
Yes, it helped. She helped me. Honestly, like a goal of hers I set was to like start getting my name out there and be on podcasts and things like that. Here I am.
Here you are.
Yay. We're so glad to have you.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be here. She helped take what makes me me and amplify it rather than shying away from it. We talked about that last week, Allison. Like the joy bringing, the fun, those are things that make me me. I'm not, I'm never going to show up in a suit to an onsite. I mean, if, I'll suit up when I need to, but you know what I mean? Like, what makes you you? Jack talked about that. Bringing out those qualities and leading with that honesty and leading with that vulnerability. She helped draw out some of the seeds that John planted, let's say.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I have a coach too. So shout out to Alice. And she just kind of helps. I mean, everybody should have a coach. Everyone should have
a coach.
What do you call it? Your own personal board of directors?
Board of directors. Yeah.
Oh, I love that, because things that for me, I used to think, oh my gosh, because I'm a silly goose. Like there's no way I could bring this to the professional world. And I used to hide it. And now I realize the more silly goose I am, the more like I attract other silly gooses. We have our silly goose, like, here we go. And just better like presentations, better even with my team and being real. It's so much more freeing just to be yourself.
Yeah, it really is. And you know what? I love your brand of silly goose. I'm a silly goose too.
I know. That's why I love you.
Yeah.
My kids got me a hat for Christmas. And it just says the silly goose juice. And I'm like, I don't even know what this means. Like, I think it might be for like champagne, but I'm like, I love it. And they love it because they know mom's a silly goose.
Oh, I bet your kids are fun. Your kids? I want to hang out with those. They're friends with Hannah's kids. If you ever come to Texas, we can all get them together.
It
you
had
know,
kind of like a partial sleepover.
She's not in Texas. She's not in Texas.
No. Yeah,
gotta-
I'm in Seattle.
we got to get together in person.
Yeah. Where are you located, Alex?
Northern California.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Okay,
Maybe
well,
I can come to y'all.
yeah, Middle West to West Coast party.
Yeah.
Well, this was like probably the most fun I've ever had on an imposter talk. So,
So fun.
I can't wait to share this. I think so many people are going to learn and feel really inspired by this particular topic. So if anybody has any questions for Alex, please comment below.
Please do. And please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. I love making new friends.
We'll tag you, Alex, so everyone knows how to find you.
Sounds
Yeah,
good.
and we're going to do a book club. We're going to do all the things. So just stay tuned. I love it.
I love it. Thank you both. I appreciate it. This was
Thank
so
you
fun.
so much. Yeah, it's
Thank
great to have
you.
you.
Thanks,
Bye.
guys. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode.
Yes, please like, subscribe on Apple Podcasts. You can find us on Spotify, YouTube, also on LinkedIn. Thanks so much.